Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Today we're going to be talking about a $10 garden hose reverb for drums. Here's what it sounds like. Okay, really cool sound here. It's got a huge, massive sound out of something so simple. Now, my inspiration today is from Sylvia Massy. She has a book called Recording Unhinged. This technique today is actually not in the book precisely. She talks about, pumping sound into a garden hose with a funnel and a speaker. But this technique today was actually inspired from a promotional video that she was doing to promote her book. So for starters, we're going to start out with a 15-foot garden hose. It's really cheap, really thin. What we're going to do is we're just going to lay it around the front of the drum set. I'll go ahead and tape one end shut, and then on the other end, put an SM57. We're just going to line up the SM57 to the garden hose, just tape it the best we can. We also add tape over the back vents of the SM57, so we're only collecting sound going through the surface of the garden hose. Let's see what that sounds like. Now from here, I was thinking, well, the SM57 doesn't fit in a garden hose, but I actually have a lav mic. Drape that into the garden hose, tape it shut. Well, let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so the lav mic already has a lot of low mids in it, so it may not be a good fit, but I still really like the sound of it. I mean, with a little more EQ, it can sound amazing. Now, there's one way to take this to the next level, and that's with compression. So compression with a fast release will help to elongate the sound of the drums, and it actually gives us more of that reverb type sound. Let's see what it sounds like with some FG stress compression with a fast release. So now we're really getting somewhere. I mean, this sounds really, really great. Again, if you don't like the tone, you can EQ some of that out, but it's all about that fat sound, that it's almost a speed thing. We want the gooey sounds because we're trying to emulate the sound of like a reverb or a room mic. Again, this is something that if you don't have that massive space to record drums in, this might just be your secret trick. Now from here, I couldn't stop, This is just a 15-footer. Let's see what something with some more length would give us. So I went out and bought a $10 garden hose, 50 feet long. I mean, this garden hose is really thin. It almost wants to kink when I'm just maneuvering it around the drum set. I kept the garden hose somewhat coiled as it stretches around the drum kit because I really don't want to go away from the kit. I want to keep all the hose close by. Here's what a 50-foot garden hose sounds like. So far, the microphone is by the floor tom in all the examples so far. But what if we added a second SM57? I mean, how does this thing sound as a stereo effect? This is where it starts to get pretty cool. Even stranger, but still really cool. Let's check it out. Now what's cool about this is that it is stereo. It's really off balance though. I don't know what I have to do to make this better balanced. So I did quite a bit of experimenting trying to get the balance from left to right somewhat even, especially in the high end. So what I started doing is moving around the garden hose. The first quick example is going to be moving in that microphone to see if maybe sound's going in directly into the mic, and moving the microphone really under the snare, going up under the floor tom and towards that snare. Okay, it seemed like it didn't really work so well. It was closer than the other mic. And so it's not about the location of the mic, it's about the surface area of the hose. So then I said, well, maybe I just want snare. So I bunched up very loosely and still laying horizontally on the ground the 50-foot hose in front of the snare drum. So it's all right in front of the underside of the snare to hopefully give me a great stereo image of just the snare drum. Let's see how well it worked. This is just really sensitive to left and right balance here. It's really difficult. Again, I'm just experimenting here, trying to get a balance of left and right. Let's keep going. Maybe I need to do a tighter coil, just coiled loosely right in front of the snare drum. Let's see how that sounds. Technique is just really touchy. I don't know that you can ever achieve a really good balance between left and right sonically, but I would say that for my general purpose, I can either use it, maybe not hard panned, but maybe I'll try to even out the channels a little bit, or maybe I'll just pick one or the other. If I want something that's kind of low end heavy or something that's kind of high end heavy, I have two tones to choose from and use it in a mono application during mix time. And finally, the last test I want to show you is actually one of my first tests, and it's before I uncoiled the 50-foot garden hose. So just factory coiled, and it's a mono example in front of that snare drum. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so, going back to just this one mono example, there's something really nice about just having just that centered image up the middle of a mix. I would say that for my general purpose, I would probably spread the hose out in the original stereo example, and I can either use it, maybe not hard panned, but I have two tones to choose from and use it in a mono application during mix time. If we want to hard pan this, we have to get a little bit better balance. I'm not sure with this experiment today that it really worked. It's a really cool effect with a little bit of EQ to carve out some of those low mids and a compressor with a fast release. That's really key. Otherwise, you don't really have a reverb-like effect. It ends up being kind of a lo-fi radio effect for the drums. We'll be continuing this video with a few others. So I have a playlist already. I think it's called Build Your Own Reverb. And with this, we already have the Mixerman pipe delay in there. We have the reamping with pedals from the Weather Vane trip. We'll have this in there, and we have a few other tricks that we're gonna try to build your own effects and your own reverbs. This is gonna be really cool. This stuff really doesn't cost a whole lot. It's just a great, original, unique effect. I'd love to hear what you think of this. Be hanging out in the comments below.